Okay, let's start the chapter. Okay. This is the second half of the class, which is coming from the book Key Values. Here, where we're going to talk about it, we'll talk about development, delivering, and developing on the IT values proposition. As we know, you have to have a one concept on your mind. That's really what we do. We pay dollars, we get values. And the dollars could be, we pay resources to get values. So the values is very important that we have to take a look at it. Now, the question is, why, what IT value? We know we're looking at what's IT value. IT value is the worth or the desirabilities of thing. IT value is a subjective assessment. IT value is based on how a business chooses to view it. IT value is tied to a business models. And IT value can be defined by return on investment and KPI, ROI, and key performance indicators, KPIs. Now, where is IT value? When we make a decision about IT value, maybe to optimize a value to the firm, even if they cause difficulties for a business unit or individuals. IT value need to be leveraged for the benefit of the firms, not individual. Who deliver IT values? Well, IT values is made of three parts: people, technology, and process. So IT value is a function of people, processes or process, and technology. And this is how the whole value can see in the IT. IT value is also a function of organizational value. It's driven from the value of organization. If they don't appreciate IT, then there is no IT values. When is IT value realized? Well, IT value has a temporal dimensions. We will explain that what it means. Initially means companies spend a considerable amount of deploying a new technology with no benefit. So they're just using technology with no benefit, just deliver. Some value is then achieved by solving initial inefficiencies. So there is a whole set of IT solutions. Some of them will be utilized for achieving the initial inefficiencies. As use increases for the IT values, for IT, complexities grow and cost will be increases. And finally, the business is made simpler and efficient are achieved. Let's look at this, how it looks like. So the first 12 to 16 months, you get the house in order, put more solution, more IT solution, and then you start harvest the low-hanging fruit, the ones caused by your IT solution, which is low-hanging fruits uh, generated because of your IT solution, put it this way. And then between 22 months to 38 months, we start seeing that the business becomes more complex because more functionality is added to the solution. And then you try to lower that, and then you try to make the business 3 to 5 year, making the business simpler. A good example is probably how to build with an ERP um, solution such as uh, scheduling or MRP, material resource planning, and MPS. It's a good example. If you look at how to build MRP and MPS with an ERP solution, and how it's integrated with the warehousing and the CRM. Now, the other thing we wanted to see is what's the best practice in understanding IT values? Because how are we gonna make sure there is a value in the ITs, and what's the best practice for it? So you need to link the IT value directly to the business models. So that's how you recognize that the value is a subjective and manage perception accordingly. Aim for a value that win-win across the processes, work unit, and individual. Seek business commitment to all IT projects and manage value over time. We'll explain these, the last point, especially the last point. But to do that is first you need to look at the components of IT values. What's their components? What kind of a component? First, we need to do identifications. Then we do conversions plus realizations. And it's through the identification, conversion, and realizations that comes in the IT values. Now, the identification of potential value. Joint IT business mechanisms should be established to identify business and technical opportunities where IT can add a value to it, and establish a formal process for project prioritization. The next question comes in is how to do the best practice in identifying the potential value in the IT. First of all, you need to recognize and evaluate the opportunities, mostly what kind of opportunities there, what kind of a solution is needed to do that opportunities. Then develop a means to compare the value across the projects, each project. Then you utilize the portfolio approach to a project selection, kind of portfolio you have there, and establish a funding mechanisms for the infrastructures that you're going to build your IT through it. So the next step is having an effective convergence. And conversion is mean transformation of ideas and opportunity into IT value proposition, which is looking at excellent project management, looking at effective execution, looking at reliability of IT operation are all critical to IT value creations. The conversion issues that you probably need to look within the organization, you see, there is more projects than resources. That's a big problem. Insufficient time to complete all the projects. The training limitations, inadequate technical or business resources. Implementation of IT may require significant business processes redesign. That's a big problem also. The best practice in conversion is first ability of adequate and qualified IT and business resources. Do you have these resources or should you build it? Secondly, training in a business goals and processes. Multifunctional change management. So there might be some change and you need to manage these also changes. Emphasize on a higher learning and knowledge management. So you need to spend some time on people understanding the concept and how they manage their knowledge. The issues that deals with realizing value is IT value realization is a long-term process. Is also to deliver value. Technology must use extensively. Everybody should be using it, or most of these. And the measurement is the key component. Does expected value is actual value? That's how people differentiate between different value. Might be not your expected value is different than what is actually is given. Best practices of realizing the values. Well, plan a value realization phase for all ITs. How we gonna realize that we benefited from it? Which is, that means measuring outcome against the expected ones, without with in this case. Look for and eliminate the root cause of these problems. What's causing the problem? People are not realizing the values in it. And then assess the value realization at all levels in the organization, because some people just don't see it as a value in them. And have a provision for acting on a new opportunity to leverage the values. Have a clearly, there is a 5 principle for delivering values. First of all, you have a clearly defined portfolio values management process. So there is a portfolio how this solution can contribute to the overall values of the companies. Or see, we're not saying better sales, more sales, cost effective. These are all types of values. Effectiveness, efficiencies, these are different values that people will look at it differently. And also you aim for a chunk of values. We'll talk about chunk of values. Adopt a holistic orientation for a technology value, a full picture of technology, holistic orientations for their value. Aim to join ownership of technology initiatives. How people are partnering with you on these, and experiment more. The more you test these things, the easier for you to implement and have a good control over it. Now, we want to know the first principle, what it means. Have a clearly defined portfolio value management process. What does that mean? It means track project as they are developed. Revisit the portfolio decision to determine if the project should be changed. Invest in strategic and infrastructures a lot of those projects. Develop an ongoing means to ensure a value is realized. So that you always look at developing an means, ongoing means to ensure they realize these values. Now, the problem if they don't see the values, first of all, your work is useless and you would be useless too. So you want to work on these values. The second principle is we said aim for a chunk of value. That means focus on key areas, deliver, and how your solutions or IT, how they contribute to the total value of key focus areas. Deliver value through a series of small focus projects. Balance a short-term and a long-term strategic goals. So you're not only building for the long term, you're also building for the short-term strategic goals. The third principle that you want to need and examine is adopt the holistic orientation to the technology value. The whole total idea is manage and use people first. Manage and use people, processes, and technology, the whole thing together. Anticipate the impact of technology over the people and the processes also. Incorporate the technology changes into business changes. So the technology, if it changed, you put it into business, and if the business change, you bring technology that meet the business. So these two is must. Helping each other. The fourth principle that you need to look at it is the fact that you need to aim of a joint ownership of technology initiatives. Don't be the only person within the IT. People's within the IT and people's outside the IT. In other words, ensure the executive sponsorship for all IT projects. Develop a culture of joint responsibilities and mutual trust between IT and business. The last principle that you probably want to pay attention to is experiment. The more you can experiment, the better. Experiment within the new technology on a small scale. You always do it to minimize the risk. Experimentation enables technology investment to be made in a smaller chunk. Experimentation enable IT values to be realized sooner because we tested that on a small scale. So people saw it, people are happy with it, and they can share these values. That's the way you look at things. So, in a conclusion, in this chapter, we explored the concept and the activity involved in developing and delivering IT values to an organization. IT value cannot be viewed in isolation. They just don't see it. It has to be connected to the business goals and all. The entire IT process must be managed from conception to cash, the whole thing. How much cost us to deliver this IT processes? And that's the end of the chapter.